Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak. Today I'd like to talk about what to do when you find yourself feeling down, or sometimes what I call funk mode. When you're just in like this funk and you just can't shake it. So last episode I shared about being out of balance, where I was spending so much energy being social, and it was really giving me I was having a hard time finding that balance and being motivated and things like that. I also felt a little hazy. I'd wake up and I just feel kind of fuzzy. And that's what I call funk mode. Like when your mojo or like your motivation, like you just lost, that hop or the bounce in your step, and just being motivated to continue on with your day in a loving, awesome way. That doesn't happen to me often, but like I mentioned last episode, it was about being out of balance, and I wasn't putting things, in the right buckets, or like I was putting one way in there. Anyways, so what do you do when you find yourself in like a funk mode or suck mode? Actually, I think is what I used to call it, suck mode, where everything sucked. Anyways, funk or suck, it can work for both. So you might find yourself when you're in this mode. Maybe you can relate right now. Maybe this will be something that you listen to later, or can bookmark and come back to. When you're in it, that's usually when you just want to binge watch TV. You don't really want to do anything. In fact, when I'm in that mode, when I'm really hazy, I can't even read books. Like I just completely just have not the focus, and I just binge watch TV, sometimes movies. And like I said, this doesn't happen often, but when it does, it means that something is out of alignment. And if that's the case, like obviously once you get out of this funk that you might find yourself in, definitely listen to last week's episode about balance if you haven't already. So what do you do? A big one is do something you like. And it could be big or small. Put on music that makes you happy. Get dressed if you haven't dressed. And like I said, like for me, reading books, I barely can do that when I'm in, depending on which mode I'm in. So sometimes you might just be in a low vibe. Maybe you just need to read something motivational. And I have a ton of books like at my fingertips to help me with that. But sometimes when you're in like a super funk or in like suck mode where like just everything you do like just keeps getting suckier and suckier, then it's like you need to kind of knock yourself out of it. And that's what I mean by putting like music on or just trying to change your thoughts. So just sitting there like, what am I thinking about right now? And trying it anywhere, like just to kind of shift it just a little bit. Maybe like a big one is like turning off the TV and doing something else, like get outside in nature, go for a walk. Anything that's out of the, like getting you off the couch or out of bed. Anything little is really good there. And like I mentioned last episode, it's also really important to love yourself through this process. You're feeling this way for a reason. And it could be because you're out of balance. Maybe you haven't been eating well. Maybe you're a little under the weather. Like that was part of my problem. Full confession. I have been getting hives and I'm not sure what, like I'm working with a naturopath. And I took Benadryl one night. And it knocked me out for a whole other day. Like I felt really fuzzy and hazy. And that's where my funky week came from. So it could be just so many different things. So I stopped taking Benadryl. I have like a homeopathic thing for things now. So anyways, it's figuring out why a little bit. But if it's just because it's winter and you're kind of like, it's dark or gloomy, then it's figuring out how to shake it up a little bit. And a big one is, like I said, music. Do something you love. Get out in nature, even if it's like really cold out. Just bundle up. And even if it's like only 5-10 minutes. Another one that's super important and something that I forgot for a few years there is moving your body. Moving your body is good on so many levels. Our bodies are just grateful when we have a good sweat and move our bodies through yoga or walking, hiking, any cardio, strength training, all that fun stuff. Take a Zumba class. all those fun things. Really just, it helps us with our mental haze that we can have. It can help us with so many things. And for me, it helped me definitely mentally because I was experiencing some major PMS there for a while. And working out has definitely rebalanced things. So our bodies really crave movement. So even if it's going for a walk, or I have like a little trampoline, so I do rebounding. And that actually incorporates two of my favorite things to do, which is listen to music that's fun and awesome and upbeat, and jump and do some rebounding on the trampoline. And that is just so good for our bodies. So anyways, if you're finding yourself with the case of the blues, like I actually was in the dentist the other day, and I was like, I am like not, I open up to people. Anyways, I also find out lots about other people. So anyways, I was just like, yeah, I think I might actually have the case of the Januaries. And it was funny because then it was February. I'm like, oh, afterwards, I'm like, oh, anyways, we can get in like little pockets of downness, and big or small, all our feelings matter. That's what I tell my kids all the time. Every single feeling we have, sadness, anger, even jealousy, happiness, like excitement, they all matter. Every single one. Jealousy, is a great one because it shows us like, oh, wait, I'm not connected to love anymore. I'm focused on outside things. I'm not loving myself anymore. And I say this with so much love because I spent so many years being judgy and judgmental. And then the more I started loving myself, the more I just focused on my own lane, right? Like when we're driving our own lane, like sure, we'll check like the mirrors and, make sure we're not going to interfere or like hurt other people in the process of following our own dreams. But we're in our own lane and we're focused on our destination. Sure, there's other people around and we, watch out for them, especially if you're a parent like I am. But you're on your own lane, destination, awesomeness, right? And when we're not focused on our own awesomeness and what's going on with what do we need to do to, live our best lives, to have more wow moments in our lives and things like that, we're then looking outside of our lane and we're veering off course. So jealousy does teach us things. It just means that we're not connected to love anymore, or not as much. We're looking on outside circumstances. We're comparing ourselves to others in our lives, how far we are to other people. And that is like a whole other conversation, because we can find ourselves in comparing all the time. And then we are living somebody else's life instead of our own. So anyways, emotions play a huge thing. And anger, it's like you're not getting something, you're missing something in your own life. And anger, like this is I should really do another episode sometime all about just emotions. Anyways, what I tell my kids is like every emotion matters. So it's okay to feel everything you feel. It's just taking time to understand why you're feeling it. So when you're in like a suck mode, like we're just things, because when you focus on something that sucks, like say you stub your toe in the morning and like you just have a bad day all day long, because like you just, like I woke up and I did this and then this happened and then this happened. I spilled coffee everywhere, or like the coffee maker didn't work, or the power went out, like just different things. And you're focusing on all the negative. You're going to keep seeing negative things in your life. But if you try to turn that around in that moment, it's like, oh crap, I stubbed my toe. And then you take a minute, breathe or meditate or do some tapping, all those things, maybe spend some time doing yoga. You can shift out of that suck mode, right? But sometimes we can't. And then that just keeps going on and on, right? So when we focus on something sucky, we just keep feeling that way. Same with funky. When we're in a funk and we're just like, blah, that's what I felt a while, not too long ago, until I started shifting the way I saw things and how I did things and started shaking the cobwebs out. But we can be in a funk. And when we're in a funk mode, then we're just not feeling ourselves. Things are hazy, or we're just not as creative or motivated to do the things we normally love. And it's taking little steps to get out of there, to shake it up, to start seeing things differently. One of my favorite quotes is from Dr. Wayne Dyer. Okay, I have a lot of favorite quotes, and a lot of them are from Dr. Wayne Dyer, actually. Okay, now I love a lot of quotes. Anyways, one is, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. It is so beautiful. Now, that can be hard when you're not feeling great. So it's taking one little kernel of something. When when I'm just not feeling that great, I just think about my kids. And actually, when I've been feeling kind of hazy, I've been noticing more amazing things, and I've actually gotten a lot out of my little funkness that I've had. I've been able to appreciate my husband more and my kids more. Like, it actually has really shifted the way I've seen my life. Now, other areas, I'm like, oh, I need to change the way I look at things, really, and start to change things. I need to start changing the way I see things. But at the same time, it has helped me appreciate other areas of my life that I've kind of have taken for granted. And that is how we shift out of funk mode or suck mode. When we're like, wait a second, just because I'm feeling this way doesn't mean I wasted a week or whatever. It's, wow, I've learned something. If you take the time to look at what you could have learned or what you have learned, you can start shifting out of that mode, out of suck mode or funk mode, whatever you're in. And you can change the way you're seeing your life. So little by little. And like I said, one of the best things is put on a song you love. Other one, move your body, even if that's walking around the block or jumping on a trampoline, big or small, doesn't matter. If you have one in your backyard, get out there and jump. Play some music, move your body, and it helps shift things. Get away from the TV for a while, even hit pause and just walk around. Obviously, if you're listening to this, though, you have shifted a little bit to the point where you're listening to something motivating, and that's amazing. So yay, you. That's so amazing. It's making time for yourself. So when you're not feeling in a good mood, things are just not working out the way you'd like them to. It's pause. I always say hit the pause button and just sit with yourself, even if it's for 5 minutes. Pause the TV if you've been listening to, if you've been, binge watching. I love Netflix for that reason. Because are you still watching after 3? If you get that, that's a good time to be like, okay, where am I at and why am I watching so many shows? And if it's your day off or you're just you're allowing yourself to have that time, by all means, there's nothing wrong. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with watching TV. I'm talking about binge watching and just numbing out. When that happens, I actually wish more services would because I don't watch Netflix actually all that often, but I wish there'd be other things that would just are you still watching? And because it's a good time to ask yourself okay, why am I watching? Is this my day off and I just need to chill out? Because honestly, I used to watch a lot of TV. And it was, for me, I just wasn't happy with my own life. And I was just happy watching other people. And I've gotten to the point where I usually only watch 1 or 2 episodes at night, usually. And then, lately I have been watching more. And it's asking myself, okay, why? Sometimes, honestly, it's because the show is, and they have cliffhangers. And it's well, I just need to know what's happening next. If that's the case, well, they just hooked you and, you're not alone. But if you're just numbing out in front of the TV, where you're just I just need to watch a show. Where's my next binge watch show? And what can and then you're just watching so many shows. Just ask yourself why, with no judgment. There's no judgment, no shame. And if you're just relaxing, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're hiding from a feeling, send yourself love and be okay, can I look at it? Can I look at this feeling yet? And if you're just having a funky week, allow yourself to sit and binge watch. Allow yourself to just be. And then like have a period where it's like, okay, maybe I should start moving out of this. You can allow yourself to just be. There's definitely been times where like I remember even having a cold and I go in to work. Like this is years ago, like I think 2005, 2006. I remember I was like bad. I had like a nasty cough and I was in charge of doing warm-ups for everybody before we worked. And I'm like hacking. Like no one told me to go home. I should have told myself to go home. But I thought if I called in sick, I wasn't worthy. Like I wasn't good enough. Like, and now I so much more appreciate sick days, especially as a mom, because you don't get them as easy anymore. Anyways, I would just push through. I wouldn't even allow myself to call in sick. We, as human beings, need to allow ourselves some extra love, especially when we're not feeling good. And that can be when you're in like a sucky mode or like sucky, like funky, whatever is, going on. So again, what I said before is you need to love yourself through this process. Maybe allow yourself a day when you're feeling like blah and just allow. No obligations. Like a lot of the time we just feel guilty. There's definitely been times where I'm like, why am I laying in bed still? Or different things like that. I have gotten better, especially when I'm like in a better like centered place. I was like, no, I'm not feeling well. I'm taking the day. And I usually, I tell my husband, I'm like, okay, I have like I'm catching a cold or I'm just feeling really wiped out. I'm going to take the day to just be. However, sometimes it can like go into weeks, right? So it's like, okay, what is going on? Am I just not feeling good or what's going on mentally and things like that? And like I mentioned last episode, it's important to lean on people, get support, especially if it's something more. It's really important to ask for help, especially if you're depressed or you're lonely. Is getting really clear on why and then getting the support you need in whatever area it is. Maybe it's just talking to a friend, going for a walk with a friend, talking with somebody that is not going to judge you, that's just going to love you as you are in that moment. So again, nothing wrong with binge watching TV. Just ask yourself down the line, like, okay, am I just taking some chill time? Like, am I needing this? Like, I remember when I worked 3 jobs at a time and I actually looking back, I go, I really could have used like a day once a week to just take some time off from being so much. But I didn't. I was at a different place back then. So you can allow yourself rest. Rest is super important. Relaxing, resting, recharging. But when you're like in a funk and you just can't shake it, that's what I'm talking about right now. When you can't shake the feeling of like not feeling good. Hit the pause button on the TV because the TV is not going to help if it's been, days or even a day or two. Hit the pause button. Get off the couch. Or if you can't get off the couch, put on a song that makes you feel good. Another one, like I mentioned last episode, even though I'm repeating myself, it's super important. You can also journal. So if you don't feel like you can reach out to anybody in your circle of friends or family, write it out in a journal. And even if you don't know what to write, you can start with, I don't know why I'm feeling this way. Or I'm feeling. And if you don't know what you're feeling at, you can be ... And then you can just be writing out things that have been happening or whatever. Let the pen flow and it will come out. However, if you can share it with somebody, it's always a good time to reach out for help as well. And know that I think as all human beings, we get in these modes. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but personally, I can speak personally of myself. That I have times where I don't feel great. And then I have to reach for more motivation. So, like I said, it was baby steps out of funk mode. And when I get into, not that long ago, it was really hazy. So reading was not a thing. But once you get out of that, you can pick up books that motivate you. Listen to podcasts like you are now. Or if you really just don't want to get off the couch, or maybe you're laid up for something, you've broken your foot or something like that, watch documentaries, something that motivates you and keeps you going. I also find looking at my goals really helps me go, right, maybe I'm feeling this way right now, but I have things I'd like to create in my life, things I'm heading towards. and I can't do them when I'm in funk mode. So it's like, love myself in that moment, do little things to get me out of it, and then be like, okay, this is where I want to head. What can I do now to help me get there? So it's having a bigger picture, because sometimes our worlds can feel out of control. You know, I have 2 kids, things happen. And like I mentioned last episode, our social calendar got really full. So it's like, what do I need and what can I do to get there? And remember, you're not alone. I really do feel that a lot of us experience these moments. And we're in the winter right now. At least here, like in the northern hemisphere, we're in winter. And we've had quite the mild here, and like not too much rain, but like it's still there, and you know, you can get the blues. And it's all about loving yourself through that process. It really is. Supporting yourself, asking for help when you need it, creating this like toolbox. I actually have a pile of webinars on my phone that I grab to when I need a little motivation. I have meditations that are on my phone that I use. And I have all these little tools that have helped. But a big one that has been through my life, like throughout most of my life, has been journaling. Now, I'm going to be honest, I don't journal every day. I very much have tried to be consistent, but it doesn't always work out for me. And I've had to be okay with not doing that every day. However, it is a tool I use when I need to put things down there. So it's about finding what works for you. That has been one of the biggest things I've learned on my self-love journey, is people are like, you need to do this, this, and this. And then I'll try, and then I'll fail. I'm like, oh, like, and I try hard. And then I fail. And then I feel bad about myself because I'm like, I can't do that. It's about learning different techniques and using the ones that work for you. Maybe all you need is a bubble bath or going to the spa, or maybe you do need more fun in your life. And if that's the case, listen to last week's episode. And it's just asking yourself again, what do you need right now? And what do you need to do to get there? Maybe it's just taking a walk outside. I hope this has helped. Know again that you're not alone, because I've definitely been there. It's definitely been a different vibe in my world this past January and into February, between being overly social and having lots of appointments. Have really taken me out of my normal routine, having a lot of fun, and then also like being kind of low and in funky states and stuff like that. It happens. It's learning techniques to help you get out of them faster. Okay? And remember, everything happens for a reason. To be honest, I didn't like being in a funk state either. And when I realized, I'm like, oh, like I'm, kind of having a pity party, it was time to like shut down the pity party and, love myself through that process of getting out of it. So love yourself through the process of whatever you're going through right now. And if you're not in like a funk mode, but you're aware of what that is, file this information away for later, so you can get yourself out of it a little faster. Because no one wants to stay there very long. It's okay to have a little time to just chill and feel it out. We all need downtime. And don't forget that either. We need downtime. We need time to rest. Allow yourself to rest. Allow yourself to recharge. And allow yourself to say no to things that don't fill you up. And start saying yes to more of the things that do. And then hopefully you'll have less funkiness in your life as well. I hope this again has helped. Thank you so much for listening. Have a beautiful day. Bye for now.